After 12 years of running my father's company, I had raised its value to $80 million. Yet, at a family dinner, my father smiled at me and announced, "Ethan will be taking over the company from now on." My heart sank into an abyss, but I kept the smile on my face. The next morning, everything changed forever. Family. The safest place or the most painful betrayal? Family is supposed to be the place that shelters and recognizes one's efforts. But for Lisa, it was the first place that cast her aside. She gave 12 years of her youth, tirelessly sacrificing everything to build Harper & Company from a struggling small business into a multi-million-dollar empire. Yet, with one simple sentence, her father erased all of her hard work. "Ethan will be taking over the company." Those words hit Lisa like a punch to the chest. Time seemed to stop. The surrounding sounds faded, leaving only the thudding beat of her heart. She looked at Ethan, her younger brother, who had never cared about the company, never experienced the sleepless nights she endured over business strategies, and never shouldered any tough decisions. Yet here he was, smiling smugly, as if this victory had been his all along. The room erupted in applause, congratulations echoing around her. Lisa felt isolated in a sea of people, lost and invisible. She couldn't show her weakness, couldn't cry, couldn't break down in front of her father and Ethan. She smiled, a perfect smile so convincing that even she was surprised by her own acting skills. "Congratulations, Ethan." She raised her glass of wine, her voice warm and gentle, as if she truly were happy for her dear younger brother. But inside, pain and anger were screaming, threatening to tear everything apart. Her father's betrayal. Lisa had dedicated 12 years of her life to building Harper & Company from a near-bankrupt business into a $75 million powerhouse. She gave up vacations, personal relationships, and her own happiness to ensure the company thrived. She believed that her dedication would be acknowledged, that her father would see her worth. But now she realized that in his eyes, she was never truly the heir. Her father, James Harper, was a man of tradition who believed that only a son could be the rightful heir. It didn't matter what Lisa had accomplished or how much she had sacrificed. To him, she was just his daughter, and daughters eventually got married and left the family. In that moment, Lisa didn't just feel betrayed, she felt her entire existence was invalidated. Everything she had done, every achievement she had earned, meant nothing to her father. Ethan's manipulative ambition. Ethan, her younger brother, never cared about the company. While Lisa was building her empire, Ethan was wasting money, indulging in luxury, and failing at every business venture he tried. Yet now he stood before her, a smug smile plastered on his face as if this victory had always been his. Lisa realized that Ethan had planned this for a long time. He played the role of the dutiful son, pretending to be humble and obedient in front of their father, convincing him that he was the rightful heir. He knew his father's weakness, his unwavering belief in tradition and bloodline, and used it to steal everything from her. Unmasking the deception, Lisa couldn't believe she had been so thoroughly deceived. She trusted her family too much, trusted her father and brother. She was so busy running the company that she forgot that power is never given freely. It must be fought for. She felt sick remembering all the times Ethan played the humble fool in front of her. All the times he acted innocent and weak, just so she would step in to fix every problem. Now, the puzzle pieces were falling into place. Ethan had never truly failed at his previous ventures. He was just preparing for his biggest move, taking over Harper & Company. Lisa's anger and plan for revenge rage burned within Lisa like an unstoppable fire. But she knew she couldn't act impulsively. If Ethan and her father had spent time plotting to steal everything from her, then she would play this game perfectly. Lisa decided not to confront them directly. She would continue to play the role of the obedient and gracious daughter, letting her father and Ethan believe she had accepted defeat. But inside, she was already planning her counterattack. She wouldn't just reclaim Harper & Company, she would destroy everything they had built through lies. In that moment, Lisa knew she was no longer just an heir. She had become the true power holder, and she would never let anyone take that away from her again. The art of deception. The game begins. Lisa knew she couldn't show her cards too early. She continued to play the dutiful daughter, supporting Ethan in his new role, guiding him through meetings, and even pretending to celebrate his successes. But behind that flawless smile, she was watching, calculating, and collecting every piece of evidence she needed. She began gathering information on every deal Ethan made, every decision he took credit for, and every time he failed to live up to expectations. She paid close attention to his incompetence and documented everything. She knew that his arrogance and inexperience would be his downfall. Building her own empire. While maintaining her facade at Harper & Company, Lisa began laying the foundation for her own empire. She used her contacts and influence to establish strategic alliances, quietly drawing clients away from her family's company. She knew the industry better than anyone, and she was determined to create something even more powerful, on her own terms. She started her own investment firm, L&Co Capital, using her personal savings and connections. It was discreet, quietly buying shares in companies that Harper & Company relied on, gradually gaining influence in the supply chain. She was setting up the perfect trap, ensuring that when Ethan realized what was happening, it would be too late. The sweet taste of revenge. Months later, as Harper & Company's profits began to decline, Lisa maintained her composure. She sat through meetings, watching Ethan struggle, watching her father grow increasingly disappointed. But she kept her smile intact, offering support while silently enjoying their downfall. Then came the day she was waiting for. Ethan made a disastrous decision, investing in a failing project that cost the company millions. The board of directors was furious, and her father's face was filled with shock and betrayal. He looked to Lisa, the daughter he had underestimated, as if finally seeing her for the first time. With perfect poise, Lisa stood up. "I warned you about the risks, Ethan, but you were too arrogant to listen." She handed over the detailed reports she had been collecting for months, revealing every mistake Ethan had made. The board turned on him, questioning his competence and leadership. The final checkmate. The next day, Lisa executed her final move. L&Co Capital acquired controlling shares in the companies that supplied Harper & Company, giving her leverage over their production lines. With one decisive action, she crippled the supply chain, forcing Harper & Company into a financial crisis. Her father came to her, pleading for help, finally realizing the value of the daughter he had cast aside. Lisa looked at him calmly and said, "You chose Ethan. Live with the consequences." She walked away, leaving behind the empire she had built, now crumbling under her brother's incompetence. She didn't need Harper & Company anymore. She had built something greater, on her own. Victory and liberation. Standing in her own office, Lisa looked out at the city skyline. She had won, not just by reclaiming her power, but by proving that she was more than just an heir. She was a creator, a leader, and a force to be reckoned with. She didn't need her father's approval, nor did she need to be bound by his outdated beliefs. She was free to write her own story, to build her own empire, and to define her own legacy. Lisa smiled, a victorious and liberated smile. She was no longer just the daughter of James Harper. She was Lisa Harper, the woman who took her destiny into her own hands. Emotional strength and intelligence. Lisa sat in her familiar office, staring at the transparent glass wall that offered a panoramic view of the bustling city of New York. Neon lights flickered, traffic flowed endlessly below, and everything carried on as usual, as if the world had no idea that an empire had just been turned upside down. Outside the luxurious wooden door bearing her name, Lisa Harper, CEO of Harper & Company, her employees continued working diligently, oblivious to the fact that tomorrow, her name would be removed and replaced with that of her brother, who had never sweated a single drop for this company. The thought made Lisa's heart sink, anger boiling inside her, but she wouldn't allow herself to break. Not now. Lisa's inner conflict. She closed her eyes, remembering her early days at the company. Back then, Harper & Company was just a struggling freight company, fighting for every contract to survive. Her father trusted her and gave her the chance to manage the company at just 24. fresh out of a prestigious business school. She thought it was a sign of his faith in her abilities, that he truly believed in his daughter's potential. But looking back now, Lisa realized he only saw her as a placeholder. Someone to keep the seat warm until Ethan was ready. The pain of betrayal stung her eyes. She had devoted her youth to building this company, from its struggling beginnings to a $75 million empire. She sacrificed everything, friendships, love, and even her health, just to prove that she could do it. She wanted her father to be proud of her, to look at her with the same admiration he always had for Ethan, even though her brother had never accomplished anything significant. But Lisa understood that desire would never be fulfilled. In her father's eyes, she would always be just a daughter. Someone who would get married, have children, and become a housewife like her mother. Nothing more, nothing less. The battle between loyalty and legacy. Lisa felt torn between two opposing forces. On one side was her loyalty and love for her family, a belief deeply rooted in her since childhood when she always tried to please her father and be the perfect daughter. On the other side was her need to protect the legacy she had built with sweat and tears. Not just for herself, but for all the employees who stood by her through every struggle. "I can't let them take everything." "I won't," Lisa whispered, her hands clenched so tightly that her nails dug into her palms, causing sharp pain. But how could she fight against the very people who gave her life? How could she bring down the father she once idolized? Lisa felt as if she were betraying herself just by considering confronting her father and Ethan. But she knew that if she didn't stand up to protect her legacy, they would destroy everything she had dedicated her life to building. Her father's manipulation. Her father, James Harper, was a powerful and cunning man. He always appeared calm, confident, and kind, but behind that gentle smile was a cold, calculating mind. Lisa once admired him, wanting to be as strong and intelligent as he was. But now, as the truth began to unravel, she realized that his calm demeanor hid a deeply patriarchal and manipulative nature. James had used traditional expectations to control her, making her believe that her sacrifices were expected and didn't deserve acknowledgement. He planted the idea that loyalty and obedience were the only ways to earn his love and acceptance. And now, after she had turned Harper and Company into a powerful empire, he was ready to hand it over to Ethan, just because he was the son. Nothing more, nothing less. The collapse of her father's empire. Lisa's anger surged as she thought about it. She wanted to see her father's calm face shatter when he realized he had underestimated her. She wanted to see Ethan's smug smile disappear when he learned he was never truly the heir. But above all, Lisa wanted to reclaim her legacy, not just for power, but for honor. She wanted to prove that competence and dedication deserve recognition, regardless of gender or bloodline. Unwavering determination. Lisa stood up, her cold gaze fixed on the plaque with her name on the door. She was no longer the little girl seeking her father's approval. She had become a powerful, formidable woman. "If he wants a war, then he'll get one," Lisa whispered, her eyes blazing with determination and vengeance. She wouldn't just reclaim the company, she would make her father and Ethan regret underestimating her. And when that day came, they would realize that Lisa Harper wasn't just a placeholder. She was the ultimate victor. Strategic revenge and justice. The next morning, Lisa walked into the headquarters of Harper and Company with confidence and authority. Her tailored black suit hugged her elegant figure perfectly, and her high heels clicked rhythmically on the polished marble floor. Her sharp gaze swept over the faces of her hardworking employees, like a queen surveying her kingdom. But today, Lisa wasn't just a powerful CEO. Today, she was a warrior stepping onto the battlefield, and that battlefield was the boardroom of Harper and Company. "The game starts now," Lisa thought, a cold smile forming at the corner of her lips. Step 1. A sophisticated legal strategy. Lisa spent the night before with her personal lawyer, one of the best on Wall Street, meticulously planning every detail. She knew that to regain control of the company, she couldn't rely on emotions or honor alone. She needed the most powerful weapon in American business: the law. The shareholders' agreement. That was the key to everything. Lisa had signed that agreement with her father and Ethan 7 years ago when the company was restructuring. But unlike them, she had read every clause, every comma, with extreme caution. She knew that agreement wasn't just paperwork, it was a legal weapon that could change everything. Any decision to appoint a new CEO must be approved by the majority shareholder. Lisa read the most important clause again, confidence surging through her. Step 2. Accumulating power. Over the past 12 years, Lisa didn't just build the company, she quietly accumulated shares. She bought 15% from small shareholders during the financial crisis in 2017. In 2019, when her father needed capital to expand the market, she invested and received 10% of his shares in return. That was James Harper's fatal mistake, his overconfidence in his power, never realizing that his daughter held the key. With 35% of the original shares and the additional 25% she acquired, Lisa now owned 60% of Harper & Company. She was the majority shareholder, and that meant every decision had to go through her. Step 3. The revelation. Lisa walked into the boardroom where her father, James Harper, stood proudly on the stage, introducing the new CEO, Ethan Harper. The room was filled with applause and congratulations. Ethan stood beside his father, his face smug as if he had already secured victory. But his smile quickly vanished when Lisa spoke. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but I believe everyone needs to see this document before making any decisions." Lisa calmly opened her briefcase, took out a copy of the shareholders' agreement, and projected it onto the big screen. Silence filled the room as everyone read the clause. Any decision to appoint a new CEO must be approved by the majority shareholder. Ethan's face went pale. Her father was stunned, his eyes filled with shock and anger. "I currently own 60% of Harper & Company, and I have not approved any changes to the CEO position," Lisa stated, her voice calm but full of authority. No one dared to say a word. Lisa could feel the awe and respect from the other board members. She had not only protected her position, but proved she was the only one truly deserving to lead Harper & Company. Final move. Poetic justice. Lisa walked out of the boardroom, head held high, her eyes filled with determination. She had not only reclaimed Harper & Company, but had also destroyed her father and Ethan's entire scheme. The game was over, but the battle was just beginning. Lisa knew her father wouldn't give up easily, and Ethan would seek revenge. But this time she was ready. "I am the true power here," Lisa thought, her heart filled with victory and liberation. On a personal level, letting go and moving forward. Lisa needed to learn how to let go of the past. Her father and Ethan had paid the price for their betrayal. Now she needed to focus on the future. On building a legacy of her own, a legacy built on honesty, fairness, and true talent. The audience wouldn't just support Lisa, they would admire her for turning pain into strength, for transforming betrayal into motivation to rise above. She didn't just reclaim her legacy, she was reborn from the ashes and built an unshakable empire. The greatest victory of Lisa Harper. And that was Lisa Harper's greatest victory. She conquered not only her adversaries but also her inner turmoil. She overcame doubt, pain, and anger, emerging as a powerful and resilient leader. By choosing to create a legacy defined by integrity and vision, Lisa proved that true power lies not in vengeance, but in growth and wisdom. She didn't just win the battle for Harper & Company, she won the battle for herself. And now, the future was hers to shape. That is the triumph of Lisa Harper. A new beginning and an everlasting legacy. 1 year after reclaiming control of Harper & Company, Lisa stood on the rooftop of the headquarters, the gentle breeze playing with her sleek black hair. New York City buzzed with its usual vibrancy, but for Lisa, everything had changed. She no longer had to fight to prove herself or live in fear of betrayal. Lisa Harper had become a symbol of resilience and success. Not only in the transportation industry, but across Wall Street. Under her leadership, Harper & Company didn't just recover. It soared to new heights. The company expanded into European and Asian markets, becoming a powerful global conglomerate. Forbes magazine named her the most powerful woman in transportation, and investors were constantly seeking opportunities to partner with her. But Lisa's greatest victory wasn't power or wealth. It was liberation. She had freed herself from a painful past and her family's control, building her own path with pride and freedom. That day, standing on the rooftop overlooking the city, Lisa smiled softly and peacefully. She knew she had overcome everything: betrayal, deceit, and even the deepest emotional wounds. This is my legacy, she thought, her eyes gleaming with determination. A legacy not built on bloodline or favoritism, but on talent, integrity, and unbreakable perseverance. She walked into the elevator, ready for her next strategic meeting. The elevator doors closed, reflecting the image of a powerful, confident leader, one who could not be shaken. The battle was over. Lisa had won, and now she would continue to write her own legendary story.